We are all in a room. The water's running in. It's on the floor right now, and that water's going to rise over time. None of us, I think, are in any immediate danger or any short-term danger. And I think that the threat of AI is highly contextual to the individual and where they are, and how much, ironically, of a human being they are in their work. It's those that are writing the most robotic material, the most out of touch material, the most derivative material, who are going to be impacted by this first.
What do you think people get wrong about AI right now?
I think that we tend to have quite a hysterical reaction to most new types of technology, especially when there's a huge zeitgeist shift. And sadly, in the way the internet is now, is we tend to have a massive fear-based overreaction. There's so much paranoia out there. The internet is a huge negative reinforcement machine. So you would think, and don't get me wrong, the articles about AI don't help, but you would think right now Skynet from Terminator had just been switched on, and we have sentient computers that you can walk up to and talk to, and this computer will churn whatever you want out. It will churn artwork, poetry, writing, statistical reports, medical analysis. It will, and in some cases, it kind of can, but not to the extent people think. For me, it throws me back to, I don't know if you remember, but back when the early days of the internet, you would see video articles or TV articles about the internet, and it would show like this person switching their computer on, and like the screen would light up and blow all their hair back, and they'd be hanging onto the mouse, and they'd be sucked in, and they'd be flying through this virtual world of 3D, and that's how the internet was portrayed, right? Because in your imagination, the technology is just so limitless and exciting. When the reality was, you were sitting on a text-based bulletin board, clicking on something and waiting for the computer to slowly load this dull image, of, I don't know, anime or whatever it was you were looking at the time. So, like, the beautiful thing is our imaginations are so incredibly creative. Is we create the monster or the dream, and I feel like that's where we are with AI right now. Is very few of us are actually using it to see what it can do and to see what it's like to use, and most of us are reading articles, and the articles are sensational because the journalists, again, don't really understand the technology, and the promises being made by the technology creators are remarkable. And we have got some of the creators saying we've created something dangerous, and that has massively exasperated the fear.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of the experts who are
Mm,
warning us about
mm,
it. And I think I think it's good that they're warning us, because I think there is, even if there is the slightest risk that this might could, like, let's just say, like Skynet and Terminator and Judgment Day and everything, even if it's the slightest chance, I think it's important that we should probably just consider it and make sure, try to do everything in our power to prevent that from happening. But it is here, and it's like, as I think as you wrote in the article, the genie is out of the bottle. It's not going
no.
anywhere right now. The A, like ChatGPT and stuff like that, they're not yet, and it's probably still some time will pass before it even gets to like a human level screenplay. And maybe it never will. I do think it probably will at some point. The question is how long and when that will happen. And as but but yeah, like, do you have any, like, we have no idea, we can't predict the future, we don't know what exactly is going to happen, not even the expert. But what do you think the time frame is right now? Let's looking back on the past like 6 to 12 months, how fast AI has already grown right under most people's noses.
Yeah, I think, again, putting a timescale on things, perhaps impossible. Are things moving exponentially? It seemed so early on when we saw some of the first releases of generative AI. In my experience, some of my experiences seem to have gone backward rather than forward with it. Um, but I want to posit this theorem. into the equation that people seem to quite often be forgetting. By the time AI can write a screenplay as good as a human being can, which may not even be plausible, but let's say it gets close, you will probably be able to hit a button and turn your screenplay into a movie there and then, right? We've got everything's moving
Sure.
forward right now, and then we have these really interesting conversations online sometimes with writers where they'll say, "This is going to put us out of a job, and it's not fair, and I'm the creative," and I say to them, "Well, if it meant that you could generate a finished feature film of presentable quality from your screenplay, would you feel so bad about it?" And of course, they would go, "Oh, I do that right away." And you think, well, what about all the teamsters, the makeup artists, the prop makers? At the end of the day, look, the direction we're going in is in a world where the producers need us more than we need them. That's the way we're going. Everyone's talking like these producers are just going to go on to Chat GPT and have a screenplay made. And we're not going that way. We're going in a direction where, as a creative, you're passing by the limitations of production that you were usually tied back with. If you want to go and make an image right now, then you've never learnt the skills to paint or draw or illustrate or anything like that, or don't have the resources, or perhaps you're disabled and it's not possible for you to do these things, even if you have the tools and the learning, the experience, you can do that now. That's the jump that's gone forward. The people who are upset is when it encroaches into their territory, and I totally understand the anger and frustration that can come with that and the worry. It's What's interesting is I think it's the middlemen that are actually going to get cut out.
Who is the middleman?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what a producer literally is on a movie. The producer is the middleman when you think about that. What does the producer do? The producer takes the writing. The writing is the origination, the roots of the tree, the original burst of light in the creation of this fictional universe and everything. And then they try to find people that can turn the writing into celluloid. That's what they do. That's their job. Is like, right, this person has this, they haven't got the energy, the personality, the resources, the regional location advantages. They don't live in Hollywood. They don't have access to studios. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to take their writing and I'm going to turn it into celluloid, and then that's going to get sold on screen. That's what a middleman does. And if you look in all creative pursuits, there's middlemen everywhere. There's middlemen who, you know, they take illustrators and they're able to produce comic books, right? Because they have the access to the print houses, the distribution channels, and everything else. Those are the people which it's going to hurt because they aren't creatives. And I think people often underestimate what an absolute incredible thing it is to be a creative. You are one of the few commodities in the world which produces something from nothing, a literal, well, not literal, but a goose that lays golden eggs. That is what a creative is.